to my channel. Today we are doing a video on glittered wine glasses. This was a requested video. I did these about 2 years ago, and as you can see, they still are full of glitter. So today I'm going to be doing a tutorial at the request of someone that I know that actually watches my channel. So we are going to have 3 materials that we need. Some glitter. I prefer fine or extra fine. Oops. Mod Podge. And any wine glass that you like. So honestly, the instructions are pretty simple. You're going to do Mod Podge, a layer of glitter. You're going to let that dry. Another layer of Mod Podge, another layer of glitter, and then you can seal it with Mod Podge. Now if you want to do a 3rd layer, it's up to you, but that's pretty much it. But I will walk you all through it. It's very, very simple. So you can use the sponge brushes, that's what I prefer, but that's not what I'm using today. Now, you don't want it where it's running and then you have like the glob at the end. You want to make sure to make it, I don't know the word to use, but like less of an amount than that. But you don't want to do a super thin coat to the point where it's going to dry before you actually get the glitter on it, because that can happen if you use too little. I probably should be trying to make sure that the camera picks some of this up. You want to make sure that everything is pretty even. You don't want more Mod Podge on one side than the other, so you want to try to just even it out. Now, if you wanted, you could have wrapped tape around so that way you get an even line for the bottom, but I like to basically just follow the actual like kind of circle that's already there, if that makes sense. But that's just my preference. If you are a stickler for exact lines, then you can do it the other way. But for me, it's pretty simple to be able to follow what's already there. want to take a folder, a little bit of that in there. I prefer a folder because the seam, and when I'm done I can pour the glitter back in this container. Whatever. So I'm going to turn my glass on its side. And I'm just going to apply the glitter. So rotate it. Rotate it one more time. Now there are some spots that I can see that the glue did dry. Well, Mod Podge. Just doing that to get the rim, the bottom part of the rim. You can tap the glass to try and get all of the excess off. Now this looks pretty good. You can see right there, kind of. It's a little bit different in real life than what the camera shows, but there is a spot there where it didn't fully adhere. But this single coat is actually not that bad. There's a slight spot where it's not fully glittered there. But this is really good for one coat, honestly. You can see it from the bottom. Take this, try and put this back. I mean, now you're going to have to let this dry before you're able to put another coat, because if you were going to try and, I really don't want to mess it up, but basically if you were to try and add another layer of Mod Podge and apply it, all of this would just slide off because it's still wet underneath. I can literally feel it shift under my finger. So you're gonna wanna let this dry. Honestly, it's best to let it dry for 24 hours. If you can, if you have the time. But I would say at least like 6 to 8 hours minimum, and hope that it would be dry. So I'm going to let this dry overnight, and we will come back tomorrow to do the next coat. Hey guys, I'm back. 3 days later, not the next morning, I'm back. So I am just going to go right into it and add another coat of Mod Podge. okay. Not that much, but now this brush is stiff. It's the same brush that I used the other day. And I did not wash this thing out. That's terrible. But I can, for the most part, still get the job done with it. I should probably get a different one. I think I'm just gonna do a different brush. That's terrible. Yeah, it's the same brush. Okay. I'm right-handed, so when I do this, I'm literally covering what I'm actually doing. So, my bad. So, you can brush this up and down, side to side, honestly. Whichever way you desire. I don't believe that there's a right or wrong way, but I don't know. I could be wrong. But this works for me, and I still get the desired results. So now what you see me doing right here is literally the same as the last step. So once you finish with this step of putting the Mod Podge on and putting the glitter on, letting that dry for however long you decide to allow it to dry, you're literally just going to do this again to seal it all in. So this is your final coat. So you want to make sure that you're putting a good amount on here because you want it to seal it in. The silver one that's on the left hand side, I've had those for 2 years and they're still full of glitter, and I think that's in large part due to the fact that I sealed it in pretty good. So you don't want to use too much where it's dripping all over the place, but you want a nice good coat that's going to hold all that glitter in for a long time. So this is what it should look like. You want everything covered in white so that you know you got Mod Podge on every part. So make sure you're taking your time, as much time as you need, to make sure that everything is covered. And that's the key to making your glasses last. This is the final product. Once it's dry, all that Mod Podge did its job, but it's still very glittery, shiny, and vibrant. Alright, so guys, until next time, thanks for watching.
Give us a subscribe, hit that button.